Hello everyone, Kathy here. So yesterday I made some chinchilla cookies and I realized there wasn't that many YouTube videos online showing you how to make them. So here is a video just for you guys. The items you will need are chinchilla pellets, some hay, any sort that you really like, and then optional would be some sort of treat like a berry. I wouldn't recommend raisins for this just because raisins are too sweet. And then some sort of flour. An optional tool you will need are tools that you will need is a measuring cup and some sort of small sieve. And this is what you ultimately want. This is what I call my chinchilla flour. It's really just the dust from the pellets, from the hay, and the flowers. You can either grind up the pellets and grind up the hay, and then you'll get a powder. You can grind up the flowers too. But what I did was I just took the measuring cup and I scooped the bottom of it where I knew there would be dust, and then I used the sieve to kind of take it all out. And then I ended up with this. I forgot to mention what else you will need is old-fashioned oats, not the quick kind because they're a bit too processed and they expand too quickly in the chin stomachs because your ultimate end product will be dry. You can also use oatmeal flour or oat flour. I didn't have that, so I just took my grains and then I stuck them in the blender, and then I got the flour kind of in it. It works nicely. You're also going to need a mixing cup, and something to mix it with, or a bowl, and also a tin with foil. I'm sorry, I totally meant a pan with foil, tin foil. You will also need a little bit of water, and a microwave and oven. Alrighty, so some people like to put the oat flour and the chinchilla flour, together before they put the water and mix it. But what I like to do is I like to cook the oat flour just a bit so it thickens up, and I know what I'm texture-wise where I'm going for. How I do that is since this is a small batch, I just mixed about 1 tablespoon and 1.5 tablespoon of water. I microwaved it for about 45 seconds. Sometimes I microwave it for a minute. It's just how well I want my texture to be. And then I go ahead and I mix it up. If you use flour, I'm sure your mixture will be a bit smoother, but I didn't grind mine up so well, so it's not exactly smooth, but it's okay. If it's lumpy, it's fine. It's not like the chins are gonna care, really. I just do it for the aesthetic beauty of it. I forgot to mention that I did put a little bit of some spare herbs I had, which was I think oat straw, and I think maybe oregano, and yeah, it was oregano. Oregano is a safe chinchilla herb. I wouldn't use too much of it, but you can use any that you feel that would be good for this recipe, really. And this part, really, I just stick some in until I get the right texture, but just a little bit at a time, and then I'll show you what the texture should be. So this is what the texture is after the first bit I put in. You see that it's still a bit too runny and not easy for me to handle, so I'm going to put a bit more in there. I might end up just using the entire thing, to be honest. So you can see that this texture is getting somewhere where I want it to be. If you notice that it's finally pulling off the walls when I stir the entire thing. It's not exactly there yet, but it's getting there. So what you're basically going for, really, is just a dough. It was a paste first, but now it's dough where I can move it around, and then sorry, it was so dark. If I grab it, you see it doesn't stick to my fingers too bad. If you notice that it stick to your fingers a lot, then go ahead and put a bit more of the chinchilla pellet grass mix. Right here, I think I might put a bit more. It just feels a bit too squishy for my liking. And the reason why we want it to be a bit dry is that when you bake it, it won't take as long, and it's also less chance of the moisture to staying in the cookies. The outside will be baked, but the inside won't. And then you won't get to keep them as long. You'll probably have them for 2-3 days in the bag, and then before you know it, they'll all be moldy and gross, and you can't feed your chins anymore. So from there, it's actually really up to you on how you want to shape them. You can use a cookie cutter, or you can just use your hands. That's what I did. It's actually a lot simpler, and you can make cool shapes with them. Like I did a star, a not so good heart, but I find that the circles are the easiest ones to make. If you find that your dough gets a bit dry or if it's too wet, you can just continue. If it's too wet, then you just continue adding more of this to it till you get the right texture. Or if it's too dry, then you just add a bit more water, and that usually fixes things. And it's really just a mixture of these two that will get you the right consistency. I warn you, if you do use your hands, it is a bit messy, but that's what makes it fun. Next, we are going to pop these into the oven at 225 degrees Fahrenheit for about an hour. If you want to cut the time a bit less, I would maybe recommend going at 250 and doing it for 30 minutes. I haven't really experimented with doing it any more higher, but I like to keep them in the oven as long as I can, really, just because I want them to be dry so they do not mold. But I will come back with the end result after they come out of the oven. So this is your end result. You get some nice crisp cookies for your chins. You want to make sure that they are super duper dry, but everything sticks together. You'll see like a little glaze in it. That's fine. Don't worry about it. The chins will absolutely adore these. You can feed them about like up to 3 a day, because honestly it's just made up of hay and their food, so I guess you can even give up more if you want. If you do put like other treats in them, I might be a little careful there about giving them too many a day, but other than that, I hope everyone has fun and enjoys the video. Thank you. Bye.